Solo, a Star Wars story, is the latest spin-off in the Star Wars universe and stars Alden Ehrenreich as the classic all-time smuggler, and this time around we got Donald Glover as a younger version of Lando Calrissian.
Yeah.
I mean, Woody Harrelson, Emilia Clarke, of course Chewbacca's back, so
Yeah.
let's just start right there with Han Solo and specifically Alden Ehrenreich's performance. How do you think he did?
I think he did pretty well, actually. I'm glad that this was not a Harrison Ford impersonation. This
No.
is just his version of Han Solo. I like that he wasn't trying to throw any mannerisms, any type of like voice changing or anything. He just sort of was himself with this. And when it comes to just straight up looking at the acting, I think he did a really good job acting in this role. What about you?
I think his performance was really inconsistent.
Okay.
There were some moments where I really felt like he did kind of capture the essence of Han Solo.
Yeah.
And I think that's just because, you know, with Han Solo, it's such a classic character, such a revered character.
Yeah.
And specific traits about him. And there were times where I felt like he emulated that. And then there were times where it's just like, it was kind of awkward just with his delivery. And
Sure.
there was the chemistry between him and Chewie. But I didn't really feel like, you know, the chemistry between him and the other characters, especially between he and Kira, Emilia Clarke's character, who plays like his love interest.
Yeah.
I didn't really think it was there. There were flashes of it where I was like, this guy's knocking it out of the park. He is like a newer, younger version of Han Solo. And then there's times where I'm just like, I don't know if this guy is really up to snuff for this one.
This is a hard role to walk into, you know? I
yeah.
mean, the pressure is just so on this guy. And really, for me, it seemed like at least he wasn't phoning it in, and he was having fun with this. He seemed like a guy that just was having really fun with the character.
Yeah. And speaking of having fun with the character, I mean, Donald Glover as Lando, I thought he was just
great.
enjoying this one. And
Yeah.
it made me want to see a Lando movie now, where
Yeah.
it's just like more of him in this character. And also, you know, between Woody Harrelson and Emilia Clarke, you know, just the cast all around. Star Wars, they always do a good job with casting.
It was a very solid cast, especially Woody Harrelson. Man, this guy, like, he is so... Maybe he's underrated. I think he's underrated because I just think with every role, he doesn't have to do much. Woody Harrelson, I just saw an article recently where he sort of just blends in, but he does so well with every character that he is. He's so likable, and I really liked how much time they gave Woody Harrelson in this. I thought he was going to be more of a bit character, but I'm glad he was along for the ride for the entire thing.
Absolutely.
Given some of the side characters, I really liked actually some of these little mini characters that were in there, to the point where I wish they would have stuck around a little bit more.
Yeah, there was a character that they introduced in the first act, and you don't see much of him afterwards.
Yeah.
And it was a character that I was interested in, and I felt like with that character, they kind of did as much as they can in a prequel, where, spoiler alert, Han, Chewie, and Lando make it out alive.
Yeah,
if you couldn't
yeah.
figure that part out yet.
Yeah.
But I felt like they did with some of these characters by attaching you to them, and they kind of gave you some stakes in the beginning.
This time, you witness a lot of the famous stories.
And I
that
feel
come
like
with him.
that's what these scenes were, what this journey was. There were just like those moments, these blatant nostalgia play, fanfare play moments where it's just, you know, once again, they're trying to put me in suspense. Like, oh no, they're in peril. They're not in peril. So there are those moments where this movie suffers from prequelitis, where you know the fate of these characters. You know Han Solo doesn't die in the Kessel Run. You know when he dies if you've seen the movie that he dies in.
Yeah.
And so, just I feel like, even though there were some well choreographed scenes, there was some good action in there, I just couldn't feel like I was in it. I didn't feel like they were really in any danger. Like once again, it's just the prequelitis. You know, it's unavoidable.
But that goes back with the side characters, which I think they did at least made me feel for some of them. And there was moments where I was like, ooh, like I don't want anything bad to happen to that guy, and I don't know if there is going to be anything bad. So I think they had to lean on that to move the story forward and make you care about him, because yes, of course, these lead characters make it through.
Right.
But there are times of peril and there are times of danger that I did feel that a little bit for the side characters. But with this, I mean, I'm going to go out and say this is one of the better paced Star Wars movies in my opinion. This movie moves right along. There are reasons behind all the situations that are happening, and it's easy to understand, and I really liked the places they went with it. I like, compared to something like The Last Jedi or Rogue One, I think this one did better when it comes to the pacing than those movies.
Yeah, I mean, walking into this one, right before the movie started, Nate told me that it was a 2-hour 23 runtime, and so I was a little worried that this movie might drag on, but I feel like it did kind of move along pretty smoothly, start to finish.
I could describe the action as almost like murky. Like, it really wasn't ever colorful. You know, this is a very like gloomy looking movie, and some of the action, although I enjoyed a lot of the action, it just was really dark, really dusty, really dark, and although I made out what was going on, I felt like it could have been just presented a little more clear.
Not only did I just not like what was on the screen visually, it's just in those moments I didn't feel like I was watching a Star Wars movie.
Okay.
I'm not saying it should feel like an episode and there's Jedi and all this stuff and good versus evil. I'm not saying it should encompass all of that, but Star Wars movies definitely have a signature look to them, a signature feel, and I feel like in those scenes, in those moments when the style is standing out to me, I don't feel like I'm immersed in the Star Wars universe.
See, I disagree. I thought that a lot of the character designs were really cool. I thought there was a lot of difference between all of them, a lot of different types of creatures and whatever cultures through the Star Wars universe in this, that I thought it kind of expanded the universe a little bit more, and I actually really... I mean, yes, I think it is a darker looking movie and it's a little bleaker looking, but I did feel like it was a Star Wars movie, even though there is a humongous lack of lightsabers or any type of Jedi anything. This is very blaster oriented and very smuggler oriented. So removing that aspect of Star Wars, which is such a huge part of it, it's hard to make it feel like a Star Wars movie when you're getting rid of bright green swords.
There were times where it played a little too hard on nostalgia at moments. We're done being amazed by seeing the Millennium Falcon back in action again. We've seen it in 2 movies now,
right.
So it's just when they're when the unveiling, look, it's the first time Han's on the Millennium Falcon. I'm I don't care.
See, I thought it was modestly done. I thought that there was these moments where Rogue One, it was Memba berries, just oh, I remember those guys from the cantina. I remember just throwing it in there way too bad. I'm this, it felt like it wasn't. It was under-respected or underwhelming. I just felt like they let it happen. And this, I didn't feel like it was this big, here's Chewbacca, here's, the introduction with him and Chewbacca, that was sort of, it happened, and I was like, oh, so that's it. That's how they met. Okay. I didn't feel like it was this big deal. I felt like a lot of it wasn't really made into a big deal. It just kept the plot moving.
But there's that part where he and Chewie are first sat in the seats.
I like that. That was,
it's
gave
just
me the feels a little bit.
It didn't give me the feels, because... I think main reason is I don't see Alden Ehrenreich as Han Solo. I'm sorry. It's just, of all the characters to go back to,
of course,
how do you go to the one that you can't possibly recast? So I just think that held back the movie for me throughout the entire experience.
And that's the movie, so obviously you're not going to enjoy it that much if you just can't get past it. And
right. It's just, I didn't feel like it was Han Solo, and I felt like there was just those moments where it's just I can imagine the writer's room well, how about when he meets Chewie? Oh yeah, well... How about when he does the Kessel Run? And it's just all these things taken from that first conversation, the first movie that told you everything you need to know about Han Solo in that one scene. And it's an extrapolation of that. So, is this a bad movie? Certainly not.
No.
But is it absolutely unnecessary? Yeah.
I'm in this theater, and I remember seeing Force Awakens, and I remember everyone jacked. And those titles came up, and everyone's jacked. Everyone's screaming and yelling at Star Wars. As these movies go along, now that we're getting to a year, the excitement is completely deflated from this theater. Mm-hmm. No one's excited about this. It's just another one. So It's Star Wars fatigue. And yes, they're running out of characters to be how are we going to get people excited?
Exactly.
Let's put this one in there. This guy will get excited. They haven't seen it in a little while. It'll be great. So I completely agree with that. And that goes with my biggest gripe with this movie was the ending, which not only this is where it started to feel long, was the very, very end where I'm there was way too much, there wasn't double crossing, there wasn't triple crossing, there was octuple crossing. There was just so much back and forth where I'm we get it. You're smugglers. You're dishonest. Who's dishonest more than the other dishonest person? It just went on forever.
Yeah, the betrayals were masks in the Mission Impossible movies. Nope, I'm this person. I'm on this side.
Which we're not going to spoil anything. Saying this means you could go into this blind because... who knows?
Right.
The whole time, okay, I
right,
get
exactly.
Just ease up.
There were so many twists and turns and betrayals, where their loyalties started, their fake loyalties, to where they ended. I'm
so who?
So why doesn't that one go back to? Wait, okay,
yeah.
But why does? And so there was that third act where,
man.
Let's be honest, it was the fourth act.
It was the fourth act,
and I think that kind of, I mean. Like we said, start to finish, it was a well-paced movie. But I will say that third act, that's when I felt a little bit bloated. Buffs.
So there are our thoughts on Solo, a Star Wars story. We split hairs here a little bit, so I'm curious. What's your score on this one?
It's an entertaining movie. It's not bad, but as a Star Wars fan, I gotta say it's completely pointless. There's nothing really to be gained out of it. There's a reason the original is best original screenplay nominee, because they nailed Han Solo's backstory in that one conversation. But it's not a terrible movie. It's got its fun moments, but it's just kind of pointless to me. So I can't go too low. I'll give Solo a 6 out of 10.
Okay. I disagree. I think this movie, I mean, you know, necessary or unnecessary, I think it was a well-made movie. I really enjoyed myself. I was smiling through it. I thought the characters played it well. I think it's better than Rogue One, even though I overscored Rogue One because I was so excited about it. But I enjoyed my time. I do recommend this, especially for Star Wars fans, and I'm going to go 7.5. I really like this movie. I thought it was fun.
It's fun, but it's pointless.
Buffs.
So that's it for our review of Solo, A Star Wars Story. What did you guys think of the movie? Do you think it's unnecessary? Do you think it's as unnecessary as Dennis thinks over here? Leave all your comments down below.
And be sure to join us next week when we review Upgrade. I mean, a couple of
Hard
crazy
R.
sci-fi, hard R action fans over here, so we're definitely pumped for that one.
Yeah.
We'll bring you that review next week, but no matter where you are, no matter who you're with,
Watch more movies.